All right. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is your boy C Will back to you with another video. And now we have the RX 7900 XTX, the other beast that we have alongside the RTX 4090. And we're definitely going to be checking out basically the highest settings without ray tracing, and then we'll check out ray tracing. But we're going to take a look at 4K highest settings without ray tracing using FSR2 quality mode. And what you're seeing right now, you look at the overlay at the top left hand corner, the FPS, the average, and then the 1% lows. So it's in that order. So the current FPS is 59, average is 59, and the 1% low is 56. Let's go inside the options here. And if you checked out my 4090 video of alanwake 2, we looked at path tracing and all that different types of stuff. And basically, if you got a 4080 or 4090, you could definitely be able to use those the way that the developers want you to use. But we're going to check out some options here with the 7900 XTX and see what the quality looks like, what the performance looks like. So we are on full screen. We are at 4K. The render resolution is on quality, which, if you're playing in 4K and you go to and you're using upscaling, the quality mode will render at 1440p. Balance is the weird resolution, 2258 by 1270. Performance mode is basically like half. Is that half? Yeah, it's basically half of 4K. So you'll be at 1080p. And then ultra performance is 720p. All right, so we're going to look at quality mode, FSR2. And of course, the same thing with the 4090 video. I had the calibration. I had to go in here and make some changes. We were on 80 for the brightness, 2.2 for the gamma. And motion blur and film grain is off. And then the quality is on preset is on custom because everything is on high or ultra. Shadow detail for some particular reason defaults, so I have to go back in here and change that. I don't know why it does that. Screen space, ambient occlusion, and everything else is on high. Ray tracing right now is on off, and we're going to go back and check that right after we take a look at this. Okay. And so as you can see, again, the game looks great. Character models are still intact. One thing I want to look out for, and I don't seem to see it right now, the FSR2, I don't see any issues. So it's looking good so far. And we're looking at the textures and everything on the ground. Trees, the house. I mean, this environment that they created, that Remedy created, is freaking phenomenal. And it's good to see that we're not seeing like major differences between the graphics cards. Yeah, especially with both high-end graphics cards. So it looks great, And it's also good to know that even though we have to use upscaling, I can still run this game at 4K 60 on the 7900 XTX. So I'm excited about that. And the woods area
go check something out.
is like one of the hardest areas to run. So, yeah. So we are inside the trailer again. And the level of detail and the lighting looks good. Like I said, I don't see any upscaling issues, which is good. And well, I say that, but it looks like there's some flickering along the seam at the top. If you see that, I don't know if that was happening with the 4090, but it's just something I just saw. I'm about to go back and look at my 4090 video, see if that's the same thing. So that's the thing about with using upscaling. Sometimes you have these little artifacts. It doesn't necessarily Well, depending on how drastic it is, most of the time it doesn't mess with the gameplay or immersion. It's kind of things that you just kind of notice along the way. But so far so good. And of course, I was doing these without doing this testing, trying not to give away any spoilers. But I tell you, I probably going to go live later on today. We're going to actually do some gameplay walkthrough. So there's that. But at least you could be able to check these out without, running into any spoilers or giving away any information. Make your determination about how you want to play the game, what type of hardware you have, and all that good stuff. So yeah, the 1% lows is dropping below 60, but it was doing that with the 4090. So this is just a tough game to run. See if we could be able to go back. There's another area I want to take a look at. Oh yeah, here we go. So this is the run I was kind of doing. The game looks phenomenal. I am so proud about the 7900 XTX being able to hit 4K plus, 4K 60 plus. Like I said, even though we use the upscaling, that's fine. I don't care about that. That's just because of how the game was made. But I was definitely wanting to make sure I could be able to play at 4K, and FSR2 is working. And I don't know if that's more of a mention to, I've heard that even on low settings, this game still looks good. But being able to max it out without ray tracing is dope. All right. So I'll tell you what, let's go back into the options here. And then let's go over the graphics. And first thing I want to do is let's take a look at ray tracing. We're just going to go ahead and max it out with the ray tracing. Of course, we don't have access to ray reconstruction, but we have all the other options, even path tracing. So we're going to take a look at everything maxed out with FSR2 quality at 4K. See what we get. Woo. Goodness gracious. Okay, so I'm not even moving, and we're getting 13 FPS with ray tracing, everything maxed out, path tracing, and unfortunately, even with the best graphics card that you could get from AMD right now, it just can't handle the actual path tracing, which is really the biggest hit that we're seeing right here. Ooh, that is terrible. All right, let's go back in. It's just where AMD is, from a ray tracing generation standpoint. So let's turn off path tracing. I'll tell you what, let's see what happens with it on low. Maybe if we put path tracing on low, but then we also have path trace indirect lighting, denoising quality. Let's also put that on low and see what we get. Is it any better? Okay.
Maybe I should call David, see how Logan's doing.
That is not better. By 3 FPS. All right, so let's just turn path tracing off. How about that? And then we leave all the other ray tracing options on high.
What's got you so worried?
I just feel bad being gone so long.
And
I've never taken a case this far from them.
They can manage
we was able to almost double the frame rate from 13. So console players play at 30 FPS. Let me know what you think about this. Definitely not where I can't play like this. So definitely not worth using ray trace high settings. Let's see. And I don't go below quality. So if you know me, you know the things that I've been, when upscaling, I just don't do it. I may take a look at it while we're in here, just because of, the hardware that we're dealing with, but I don't like to go below quality. So, let's take a look at balance. See if we see any difference in quality. I do know when we was doing this and like when I've done this in other games, and I think it's just because of the developer of the game, it didn't turn out right. So, all right, so let's take a look at balance FSR2. Everything high, ray tracing high with path tracing off. Okay, and even on balance mode, you're just going up to 30 FPS. And again, I can't work with that, but hey, if you want to play at 30 FPS, or if you're okay with that, this is an option. If you want ray tracing without path tracing, high, you could probably work with that. But it's not appealing to me, especially once you go high refresh rate with the PC, you don't expect anything less. All right, so let's go back in options, graphics. So we're gonna put this back at quality. All right, and what happens if we change the what if we do ray tracing medium? All right. So if we do ray tracing medium on a preset, we just turn off path tracing. Let's see what that does with quality. We're still dropping into the 20s. Okay. So what if we do ray tracing preset low? Right? Path tracing is already off. Everything else is on low. Let's see what we have. And it just brings us back to 30 FPS. Interesting. Okay. It's weird. So there's not a whole lot of options without actually changing the. So we can't go in here. So what I'm realizing is that in order to probably find a balance, you probably have to start making changes. And so instead of the graphics quality, so I try not to change these because I like playing at the higher level. But if we changed it to medium preset on the graphics quality, and then we have ray tracing on low while still using FSR2 quality at 4K. Let's see what we have. So ray tracing just does a number on I just realized the ray tracing is just
Okay, sure, but you have to admit,
not what you're looking
interesting.
for on AMD because it's brutal. Oh my
I think I saw
gosh.
something.
So
It'll only take a
even
minute.
with switching to, we're already using upscaling, and switching to medium preset on the graphics quality, which I don't want to go below that. With ray tracing on low, still like in the 30s. So I tell you what, we're gonna turn ray tracing off. We're gonna put this quality back at high, and actually we're gonna max everything back out. Everything maxed out. Looks like it is. Nope. Okay. So we have everything maxed back out. FSR2 quality 4K. Ray tracing completely off, which is, I think, the settings that we were using to start the game. And when it comes to, unfortunately, when it comes to testing out, you see how smooth that is? So unfortunately, when it comes to playing this game on a 7900 XTX, me personally, I would just play with ray tracing off. It kind of sucks, especially when you get to, I think it's going to be other areas in the game where you definitely want to have ray tracing on. And as we progress to the game, you know, I'm going to do some actual side-by-side comparisons with the 4090. You know, once we come out of the woods, or once we get in the nighttime, you'll really be able to see a difference. But yeah, so you could play this game 4K, 60. Just not as something, you just can't do it with ray tracing without customizing all of the settings and lowering the actual settings too low for my liking. Now, you may be able to go in and say, you know what, I'm just gonna play with it, I don't care. You could, you know, but I shouldn't have to do that. So that's just me. So if you have this type of combination of hardware, this is what to expect. If you know some other presets or changes that you could be able to make without there being a loss in fidelity, definitely let me know down in the comments below. This is your boy C Will, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.